Hey guys, welcome to your November 2022 predictive video with me, your astrologer, Alexandra Irving from Chasing the Bagua. And this, of course, is going to be a tremendous month of change as we have eclipses. We are in the new moon energy from this Scorpio new moon. It was a partial solar eclipse that was exact on October 25th. Of course, you can refer back to that new moon video because we're going to be under that energy until the Sagittarius new moon, which is going to be a big deal, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. It occurs on the 23rd of November, so just the day before Thanksgiving. And this is going to be an exhilarating month. There's going to be a lot of desires that are brought up and transformed and invoked in our lives in some extraordinary ways. And you can really expect the unexpected this month. And there's a lot of really nurturing energy from the divine, or whatever you want to call it, right? From the essence of the universe, right? Because on the 28th of October, we did have Jupiter retrograde back into its home sign of Pisces. And so Jupiter is strong in its own home. Of course, it is retrograde. So this is making our beliefs really be looked at in a new sense. And there is going to be a lot within the world sense about these beliefs and the changes that are going to occur. So I would say, you know, even though investigations are going to be huge, there's going to be a lot of investigative stories, especially, you know, concerning the vaccine, especially concerning finances as well. And there are going to be changes throughout this, and I would say that we're going to see the changes, you know, start being brought into realization, or the action by the end of the month, by that first quarter square that we're going to get after the Sagittarius new moon. This is going to be, you know, some really kind of aha moments in the world and with philanthropists and things. So this is going to be a very extended month with this transformation, right? Because first of all, we're under this new moon of Scorpio, right? This solar eclipse. And so this is very potent. Venus was involved. And of course, this is ruled by Mars, which retrograded on the 30th of October. So Mars, this energy is going to be really strong in Gemini. And so it's about balancing our actions, or really looking at the actions that we can take. And there's going to be a lot letting go. There's a kind of tougher energy because Mars is in square to Neptune and Jupiter throughout this month. So like I said, the concentration is about the beliefs and what is going to be issued throughout what Gemini rules, right? And this is the cities, this is information, this is the media, and as well as the market. And of course, these eclipse cycles, as I've been saying, is a lot about the economy, a lot about finances and the value system. So yes, we're starting to see some of these things change. And as we are under the depth of Scorpio for the majority of the month until we get the sun ingress into Sagittarius on the 22nd of November, we're really going to be in this deep pursuit of truth. And so we're going to see this within the world, but also ourselves. And it's going to be an alchemical process. A lot's going to be shattered within way we're seeing relationships on a personal view, because we have Uranus and the North Node in the 7th house from that eclipse. And yes, I know I'm paying a lot of attention to this eclipse, but it's very important because we're going to be under this energy throughout most of the month, most of November. And so on the 1st of November, we have the first quarter square, right? And this is when the moon squares the sun. It's happening at 8 degrees of Aquarius. So Saturn's there, just came direct. So this is going to be very potent, surrounding the values for the everyday people. November is going to be a big month for the everyday people. That's what Saturn rules. So average people, there's going to be a lot that is invoked, and probably rebellion and people standing up for things, especially because Saturn's in this trine to Mars. And there's going to be a lot of things that are not going to be clear throughout the media, right? That Mars square to Neptune is the media, right? There's a lot of media communication involvement that is going on, and there can be a lot of disruptions. Again, I do want to just mention that because Uranus was involved in the 7th house from this eclipse, things are going to be rebellious, they're going to be sudden, and it is very unpredictable energy. But yes, astrology, is supported with this energy. So don't be surprised. We're in Scorpio season for the majority of the month. And so the esoteric, the things that are, covered, the secrets, are going to be really important. Our psychology, and if we can get to the super root, the pinpoint truth about things. And so we're going to be seeing the world going through this finality of truth, or the finding of truth, the uncovering, the research. Like I said, this investigations are going to be huge. There's going to be a lot of investigations that are going on this month. But we get that first quarter square starting off the month on the 1st. So this is going to be, really putting our focus on the change, talks about what needs to be changed for the everyday people, finances, of course, commerce. This is all going to be a big focus. And there's going to be a lot of imaginative energy, creativity, right? There's going to be new concepts that are spurred into motion, new beliefs uprising for what is better, the best thing for the everyday people, seeing that things are, kind of caving in on themselves in a way. And so I think we need to relish ourselves and our own truths, and not get too absorbed in what's going on with other people, their frustrations, or the world around us. Because remember, there's going to be a lot of frustrations in the cities. Mars is retrograde until the 12th of January in Gemini, and will be there until March of 2023. So we also, the first week of November is going to be, a little restrictive, I would say, for the average people in certain things, that some hyperinflation might happen. This is banking situations as well. We get Venus in square to Saturn, which happens on the 7th of November, right before that total lunar eclipse that's on the 8th, which is election day. So we're coming into November in a lot of entanglements when it comes to other administrations, foreign entities. These are going to be of a major topic of the beginning of November, and also throughout, the elections as well, which is probably no surprise if you look back at past elections. But this is because Uranus and the North Node are conjuncting the moon during this total lunar eclipse that happens on November 8th. And this is at 16 degrees. So numerologically, this is a 7. This is raising our stakes, right? So the stakes are going to be raised in some interesting ways for legislation, and for the involvement of votes. And there's going to be, I would say, some foreign involvement and relating with the financial institutions is going to be interesting, because once we start coming in to the 8th onward into the next weeks, we get Venus and the Sun start making these trines to Neptune as well as Jupiter in Pisces. And so this is a lot of water energy, which is release. Like Jupiter is strong there, right? But it's 12th house energy. And 12th house is losses. In the 5th house is like a loss for certain things that are involving life, right? And also what comes to mind is what water is, and like the I Ching or Chinese thought, there is a danger element to this. Like this is, maybe us getting overwhelmed with the circumstance of the collective, because Neptune's involved. So we really have to be resilient about where we're defining our energy, right? And that's the exchange of Scorpio and Taurus is, our own value within the energetics of another either institution or person, right? Because the 8th house, which is Scorpio, is about, taxes, banking systems, how we're borrowing money, but it's also sexuality. And so it's the power that we can also give over to another institute, and kind of bland ourselves out. So there's going to be a lot of power struggles. And so just to let you know, look at what you need to release in your life, to have that clear reflection within yourself and stay away from those power struggles. It's not a time, like we can be helped by the examination of where we've been stuck in past power struggles. But if we're finding ourselves in this teeter-totter, like we need to, go to the breath and move this out of our lives. There's a lot being moved out of our lives. And we're also going to see this in society at large with the major transformations. Like, look, we're getting that first quarter square is 8 degrees, right? And then when on the 30th of November, we're going to be in that Sagittarius New Moon energy. And on the 30th of November, we're going to have a first quarter square at 8 degrees as well, right? And this is going to be November is going to be a very big time of transformation. I know I keep saying transformation, but it's like deep, it's release, there's death, there's all sorts of magic as well. So let's not kind of deplete ourselves with the tragedies of stories, right? Let's write our own narrative of blessings and of abundance, right? Because we have Jupiter in its own home. So the magnitude of blessings on a universal level is huge. So where are we storing our energy? Where are we storing our finances? A lot of the world is going to be looking at this. And that total lunar eclipse is in Bharani Nakshatra, which is ruled by Venus, right? So this is going to be huge again for finances. And like I said, I think, by the end of November, we're going to start really seeing things start shuffling over into a new sense in Capricorn. season is going to be the time where those are being concrete, like the concrete's being laid with some of these things. So a lot of November is about the beliefs that need to be released, to kind of concrete and set in a new road come Capricorn season. So also for ourselves, you know, that total lunar eclipse, is bringing some realizations, some sudden tower moments in our lives, possibly concerning love, but the moon is strong there. So I think, you know, anxieties can be high, but we're also very supported in seeing a new future on the things that have been maybe burnt out of our lives, you know. So really the first couple weeks of November are going to be massive changes, thought-provoking for the everyday people. And there, of course, is going to be a lot of creativity, a lot of deception, illusions, emotions, loss, and probably a lot of talk about death as well. So we also, by November 11th, we're getting the sun trine Neptune. And so like this is just, again, that creativity, that capacity of compassion. But again, I think there's going to be a lot of losses that are happening, a lot of loss of control of certain stories or concepts or beliefs that we thought life was, right? And, I think people can be getting very upset about this time, and also family dynamics can be really hit by this. Mars is also hunger as well, and so there is going to be some issues, I would say, about certain food restrictions that are going to be happening with Jupiter in Pisces retrograde as well. This could also be some talk about certain produce that is supplied in certain countries, whether it's like in the tropics or certain overseas where they produce a lot of fruits, or we're also seeing like grain and things like this, could have some issues with crops and stuff like that, that is creating that kind of intensity, because we're getting Mars in retrograde in that square to Jupiter, to Neptune. So there's a loss and possible frustration about the things that are happening in our day-to-day lives with the markets, with supply chain, all these things. So I think there's actually going to be a lot of frustrations, and one way, again, to come through this is know that we are going to be taken care of, and pray for those around us. This is not going to be an easy month. This is going to be a very extreme month, but also remember there's extreme and divine magic. So I just want to keep saying that. And also, so the 16th of November, we're going to start getting some hope come through. So I think the first couple weeks is going to be, a lot of challenges, a lot of changes, of maybe turmoil in a sense, and maybe not in our own lives. Hopefully not. Hopefully we're just going through, some big changes. We all are. And I'll be praying for all of us as well. But this could be, just the talk about these concepts because that Mars is square to Neptune. So let's hold prayer for those near and far with this energy is one thing that we can really do. But on the 16th, we get Venus ingress into Sagittarius, and she will be here until December 9th. We're also getting that last quarter square as well here. And there could be those strange occurrences with, you know, those supply chains, banking leaders as well, because that moon is at 24 degrees of Leo. And if you know, Leo has to do with the leaders, the people in charge. And so the moon's going to be square over to the sun at 24 degrees of Scorpio. And so this is going to be, again, financial changes. This 24 degrees is the 6th. We just get Venus ingressing into the sign that has to do with beliefs. It has to do with the philanthropists. So there's going to be an eye on the ball about money and philanthropists and overseas and what is going on with this. I think also there's going to be an investigations into money that's circulating overseas about this time as well. But there is also like a beautiful story and a beautiful element involved with this, because Jupiter does rule Sagittarius, where Venus is ingressing in on the 16th, where Mercury will join as well on the 17th. And Jupiter is in its own sign in retrograde. So it's going to be bringing some blessings to us that we've been searching for in our own personal life with projects and all sorts of things. And like I said, you know, this could be a tumultuous month, but once we come in to this energy at Venus, the lesser benefic, and Mercury moving into Sagittarius sign, I think there's going to be new developments in our awareness of money and what we can create for ourselves individually and then also collectively. You know, I think there's going to be a lot of beauty ushered in to our hopes, to our benefit as well. And this is going to be ushered in from a higher sense, because this is really, you know, what the light wants to generate life, you know, and sometimes we have to go through these type of grim places that are under the ground and we have to purge. And this is part of what Scorpio season is calling into our lives in 2020. And of course, you know, with these eclipses, with Mars retrograde, it is a huge and epic time within ourselves for solving these problems that are keeping us limited in a compassionate sense, limited within our intuition, limited in with our emotions and connecting in a wholehearted way to other people. Because remember also Mars is brothers, and it being retrograde in Gemini is that there is going to be a lot of brotherhood that is issued through these problems. So don't lose hope. And remember, you know, once we come into the 22nd, the sun is ingressing into Sagittarius, and a lot of this energy is going to start tapering off. We're changing. We're also just magnifying ourselves into this beautiful way of seeing reality. We're seeing our future within the reality. And if you've been following my work, you know, I was saying, you know, come this Sagittarius New Moon, which is on the 23rd. This is the day we're also going to get Jupiter come direct at 28 degrees of Pisces, right? And so there's going to be major blessings, especially like as we've been dialing it in with ourselves. We've been, you know, holding the compassion for ourselves, looking into those deeper spiritual beliefs for ourselves. Like that's the true test that we're going through in November, is like we're up against these walls, we're up against, you know, the scorpion cage. It's like being thrown into the pit of the scorpion, you know, and we must have hope, and we will prevail within this. And I do believe that. I believe that there is going to be some interesting things that are administered throughout November, and especially once we get the sun coming into Sagittarius. This again, we get Venus and Mercury in that conjunction here on the 20th, and then we also get the sun ingress into Sagittarius. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities. There's going to be a lot of light and realizations for our heart, our home. We're coming into Thanksgiving as well on the 24th. And so this is going to be under that Jupiter direct energy with this Sagittarius New Moon, which is ruled by Sagittarius, or ruled by Jupiter rather. So there's this big drawing in to ourself and what we're going to initiate. Of course, this is going to be the world at large initiating some new things, because that Sagittarius New Moon is at 1 degree 37 seconds on November 23rd. And of course, Venus and Mercury are there. So we're going to be talking about, higher education is going to be a big topic, as well as foreign trade, foreign travel, foreign leisure, once we come into that last week of November. But also it's like, the home and the hearth and, the new realizations that we are solving, right? Because we're coming into that, what we have, the Sagittarius New Moon, which is going to lead up to that first quarter square, which is at 8 degrees of Sagittarius. So this is the point where Mars is going to come direct on January 12th. Well, in the opposition to it. So when we come into the Sagittarius New Moon, of course, that last week of November, there are going to be a lot of new developments for ourselves, and gaining luck and gaining hope and gaining a new perspective within what we're truly being searching for, what we're searching for in our life, what we're searching for in hope and optimism. So I think there's going to be from maybe, the darker black to gray to lighting up by this end of November, right? Some optimism and people searching for this hope. And I think people, although there's going to be, issues and problems and changes, I would say to travel, and also those higher institutions, I think, people are really going to be coming together in a lot of ways, and putting their issues maybe aside, or being able to see that with the everyday people, seeing that how they can use their forces, combine their forces in a way. So I think, November is a very big time of getting to the truth. Of course, research yourself and your psychology and the things that you need to move out of your life for good. This is a time to get things out of our lives, those ruts that we've been in. We're moving into complete new energy, not only on individual level, which this is a big time to step up our game in an individual sense, especially when it comes to survival, when it comes to our drive and our ability to sustain and seek these everyday needs in life too. I think there's going to be a lot coming into focus, into truth, and people are also paying attention to this truth. People are, again, very are going to be not lenient about this, like those average everyday people. I think there's going to be kind of a ruthlessness for the search of information and the search of truth and the search for the sustaining of the light for the everyday people. So I know there's a lot of transformation. I know that we're all going through a lot of change, but again, it's not our time to be in despair. Have care for yourself and each other through this energy. And of course, November is going to be a wild month, but it's also going to be a very powerful month and move us into some new places, new pastures, and also, some new relationships and new ways of even loving ourselves. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate all your support. Of course, I have a lot more content coming out, and I will go over all these new moons, full moons, as the days and weeks pass. This is a truly amazing time for people, for the collective, and for our sovereignty, So get to the truth in your life and move past those burdens of yesterday. A lot more, of course, on the way. I have the daily horoscopes podcast that you can check out. Please do subscribe to the podcast. You can always send in a message if there is something that you would like to see, any type of video or content. I would look forward to your input. And of course, if you want to schedule a reading with me, you can do so easily on chasingthebhagwad.com. Instagram, I'm doing a lot there too. So stay tuned. Love you all, and I will see you soon.